Hi, today I'm going to do a smoky eye look for hooded eyes because it's something that's been requested so much. I've got a great model today, Stacia, who's an actress, and she has hooded eyes. And she was telling me when I first met her that she often avoids buying eyeshadows or doing any makeup on her eyes because when she's tried in the past, as soon as she opens her eyes, you can't see any of it. So I really want to show her how to do a kind of medium smoky eye. I'm going to do, I'd call it. It's something that you guys can adapt to make it a little bit lighter if you wanted it for daytime, or increase if you wanted it more for a party or for evenings. But I'm going to include lots of tips and hopefully it'll be helpful. So I'm going to start by using Lift and Illuminate foundation, and this is Cool Ivory. Okay, before I start doing Stacia's eye makeup, I'm going to use some NARS Pro Prime.
What does the primer do? I know that sounds like a silly question, but...
No, it's not a silly question. Eye primers are really good for helping eyeshadow to stay put. So you know the way often it creases? If you use a good primer, and this NARS one is fantastic, I find, a really thin layer of it over the lid, and then once it's dry, start buffing the eyeshadow in. It goes on better and it just lasts so much longer without creasing. So I'm going to do a smoky eye look on Stacia, and I've chosen this Collection 2000 palette because there's some good browns and blacks and greys. I'm going to mix together a sort of very dark grey colour with a lighter sort of brownish colour. It looks quite dark here, but I'm going to put it on quite softly. So what I'm going to do is apply the colour all over the lid, try and keep it nice and soft, and then the trick really is open your eyes for me, sort of look straight ahead, and while you're looking straight ahead with your brow relaxed, you can start to add a little bit of colour in there. And it doesn't have to come up too far, but it just has to come up enough so that when the mascara's on and your eye makeup's finished, it really is framing your eye and you're able to see and have that definition. And use a bigger brush if you like to really finish off those edges. So you start to really see, just look straight ahead for me. See the way you start to see the socket defined. Can you see that in the mirror, Stacia?
Oh yeah.
So you start to get that definition. You've got this sort of depth appearing, really, where you haven't got a socket line, but it's creating that depth there. And the only way really to do it is to look ahead in the mirror. Hold that brush for me. So if you imagine you've done sort of your basic eyes, and then you go in and sort of looking straight ahead, you bring the colour there. That's perfect. Yeah. And if you just keep it nice and soft.
It doesn't, you don't have to be as sort of strict and angular as you think.
No, not at all. In fact, the softer you are and the more of a haze and the sort of, the bushier the brush. I often think that people use brushes that are far too small on their eyes, especially when they're doing things like creating a socket line or if you've got hooded eyes. And what you need is generosity. And in terms of the shape you want to achieve, don't go too high because you still want to have that nice brow bone area, but you want to create real depth inside here. So you're sort of pushing back in a way, creating the illusion of pushing back this area of skin by keeping it more just in that sort of area where your socket would be if you didn't have hooded eyes, without going too high. So now I'm just using this black Makeup Forever Aqua Eyes pencil because I think it's quite nice if you're going to do a smoky eye look to have some real depth at the lashes. It doesn't matter if you can't see it as a line. In fact, we're not really trying to create a line, a perfect line. But I think it's nice to have that real sort of depth there. So just work that pencil really into the roots of the lashes. And as I say, don't worry about it looking in any way like a perfect line because that's not really what we want. And you don't have to use black. You could use brown or grey or any of those sort of softer shades if you wanted to. And then using a brush, I'm just going to start to really blend, using a little bit of the powder that I was using earlier on. Start to really soften and blend that pencil in. And then underneath, if you look up for me, Stacia, to put a couple of dots of the black pencil just along about the outer third, and then start to smudge in with the same brush with a little bit of powder on. Make that really soft and smudgy underneath.
So you don't have to put a whole line there?
No, I think it's better not to. I think when there's harsh lines under your eyes, it never looks good. I think the softer your makeup is underneath, the better. You can kind of get away with doing, unless you're doing a really graphic liner, but I think not many people can carry that off. I think it's always better to keep those more graphic lines on the top and stick with the softer sort of washes underneath. Have a look in the mirror, see where I'm...
Oh, wow.
Sort of more of a smoky haze without being a harsh line, because also it can make your eyes look a lot smaller. If it's very hard underneath, it can kind of close your eyes up.
Whereas actually it's made it look bigger. That's why I don't really bother putting things underneath.
Because you feel it makes your eyes too small. I think the combination of having this shadow quite higher up, sort of where your socket would be, combined with that sort of haze underneath, you're kind of drawing attention away from your eye. So this is quite low down in a way, and that's sort of high up. So the focus is here and here. So the effect is sort of widening the eyes. And once we've got mascara on, your eyes are going to look huge. So eyelash curlers now. Are you okay for me to have a little...
I'll give it a go.
Just look down for me. So I'm going to use Inimitable Entente, which is a Chanel mascara in black. And I think curling the eyelashes makes such a huge difference on hooded eyes. Really gives you that lovely lift. And once you've got your mascara on, it makes all the difference. So I'm just going to do some concealing with SC3 Secret Camouflage, which is quite a dry concealer. You see that I use it a lot, but I really like it because it's so long lasting. You just need to mix it a bit sometimes to soften it up, but it's fantastic for any redness or any little marks. You can use a smaller brush obviously, but it's really great. Sometimes it's a little too dry for under eyes, so I usually mix it with more of a light reflective or a softer concealer when I'm using it in that area. So I'm just going to use a little bit of light reflective concealer, which I will apply along this area here and into the inner corner. So this is a light reflective one, but I'm actually going to blend it in with some Secret Camouflage.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
And this might sound terrible, but I always put my concealer on first before eyeshadow, and you're doing the opposite.
Yeah, I do that because, and usually I do base as well afterwards, because it always drops down a little bit. You know, if you use powders, especially if they're dark. I mean, it's fine if you're doing things like pencil or you're using a cream eyeshadow, but if you use dark powders, they always sort of fall on here, and then it just makes it look a little bit grubby, the makeup, and a little bit dark. So it just seems to me to be much easier and save time to do it the other way around. So I always do that. Some people say put loads and loads of powder under here because it'll catch the thing, but then I hate loads of powder under the eyes because I think it's really aging. So just blending in that concealer, mainly just where it's needed, with a little bit of Secret Camouflage. So next I'm going to do brows, and I'm going to use this brow palette, which is by Gosh, and it's got quite warm tones in, which I think will be great. So next I'm going to do some blusher, and I just saw this yesterday. It's a Collection 2000 blusher, which I thought was really great because it's really inexpensive. I haven't used it yet, but I thought the tones looked really pretty. I think it's nice with this one, the mix of the sort of peachy and the dark pink. Just have to make sure you really take most of it off on the back of your hand, because otherwise the pigments are quite strong.
Because usually I sort of use one of the lighter colours at the top and then one of the
underneath.
Yeah,
I don't actually need to be that technical, because you've got amazing cheekbones anyway. I mean, it is nice to use a bit of highlighter. If you've got one with a highlighter in, it's quite nice, but I think sometimes it's a little bit more simple, your makeup, because you've got such a good shape of face anyway. I'm going to use a very natural lip colour. I'm going to use a nude, and this is by Clarins. It's number 15, and it's one of their really moisturising lipsticks. Got a great lip shape. I'm going to use actually a little bit of lip pencil. This is number 7. Just smile for me like that. Perfect. I'm going to cheat your bottom lip a little bit, because your top lip's very full, and we just need a little cheat on the bottom. But it's going to be sneaky, so no one will know. So I think you're more or less done there, Stacia. I think it's a really lovely look. I think it's really emphasised your eyes. It's really brought them out. I think you look absolutely beautiful. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. I really do. Thank you very much.